Hi everybody, welcome to week 3 of ECE 111, Language and Literacy. We have 2 chapters to go over this time, so we're going to get right along and get started with chapter 15, Developmentally Appropriate Cognitive Language and Literacy Environments, and this time we're focusing specifically on preschoolers. So what do we see with our preschoolers? Well, they are in the pre-operational stage of development. About 2 to 7 years old is the age range on this stage. So first of all, they have the concept down of object permanence. So let's say if I were to hold up a cup for a 2-year-old and put a piece of paper in front of it, it looks like it's gone, but the 2 to 7-year-old would understand it's still there even though they cannot see it. So that is object permanence. They don't think that it's magically disappeared. They begin to use language to represent objects and ideas in this stage. They're very egocentric. They cannot look at the world through anyone else's eyes but their own. No matter how much coaching you do in this area, their brain just isn't quite ready for it. You can definitely push towards this, but keep in mind that this is a very normal stage in development, and they will eventually be able to see the world through another person's eyes, or they will develop a sense of empathy. It's going to take a little while though, so hang on. And they do not understand the concept of conservation. So conservation, we're not talking about natural conservation. We're talking about if these 2 cups, let me get them in about the right spot here. These 2 cups are different sizes, but if they both contained the same amount of water, a 2 to 7-year-old would think that the cup that's bigger contains more, and that the cup that's smaller contains less. So you could measure out that fluid, you could measure out sand, whatever you'd like to do to try to demonstrate that to them, but they're not quite ready to understand that. So they do not understand the concept of conservation. Next, here is an example of this. We've got, wait a minute, why did PJ get 4 sandwiches and I only got 2? So it's the same size sandwich. One's cut into 4 pieces, the other's cut into 2. But at this stage in development, they don't understand that. You've obviously given him more. Okay, the teacher's role in providing for play with this age group, because we know the importance of play, is we are the creator of the environment. The teacher in the early childhood classroom largely gets to decide quite a bit about how that classroom is set up. So we're the creator of the environment, and a lot of thought and a lot of preparation goes into that. We're also the observer and recorder of activities that are going on. We're looking for issues. We're looking for praise opportunities. We're also the facilitator of the activities. So maybe you're introducing something new. You need to stop and go through it step by step, because you are the facilitator. Don't assume everybody knows. You're also the model. So as you're showing a child a new activity or a new movement, be aware that you're going to be able to or need to repeat that movement as well. You're also the questioner to keep that cognitive activity going, to get them thinking about what's going on during this play. You're the responder, you're answering questions, and you are overall the planner of the experiences. So here we have an example of creator of the environment. Look at this amazing little Main Street type area they have created in this, I think it's a hallway in an ECE center. We've got a grocery store with product that's along the wall you can't see. We've got a cash register. We've got shopping baskets. So just that one little section, you've got so many opportunities for play and discovery. Then you've got other businesses. I'm not sure. It looks like we may have a bank down there. There's a store. There's a house. So isn't this just a really amazing use for a long, skinny area? I love this. Okay, next, being the model. As the ECE teacher, you're doing the movements, you're singing the songs, you're acting goofy right along with them. It's important that you can do that. If you're naturally a very shy person, you're going to have to break out of your shell for this part of the day. Okay, here's questioning. So we've got children and they're playing in a baby bath area. So they've got soap and water in a container. We've got babies floating in there getting their baths, and you're going to be able to talk about what's going on. You can talk about body parts. You can talk about the texture of water, how it feels, of the bubbles. There's lots of different things you can go into here, different skin colors. I mean, there's so many different things that you could bring up as the questioner, asking them questions. Okay, let's look at the process of planning. This is brought up in several different classes in different ways, but I want you to be very familiar with this. The process of planning is first, basically, we sit back, we observe the children in the classroom, we observe their peers, the adults, the materials, the settings. We're looking at everything, what's going on in there. We then plan the learning experiences because we're creating. So we're making goals for our learning experiences, we're gathering the materials, and we're planning the when, where, and how. Then we're implementing the plan, we're making it happen, and then we're going to sit back and reflect on how did it go? Was it great? Was it a flop? Were there things that went really well? Were there things that I really needed to change? And at this time, when you're reflecting, is when you're not just thinking about it, you're also writing it down or you're typing it into your computer so that you have something to refer to next time you do this again. Okay, so the planning process. Let's look at learning centers really quick. The learning center approach in ECE is wonderful. We love it, and most ECE classrooms use this. So we have different learning centers. We're giving them choices on where they can go, what they can do, and choices are so important with this age group. We have free movement. We don't want to tell the child you have to stay at this learning center because they may get tired of it and want to move on. Will you have basic rules? Yes. You know, no more than so many people at each center, but you want them to have relatively free movement. Range of developmental differences, because you know you're going to have children on different levels developmentally in your classroom, even though they may all be pretty close to the same age. We know that can vary. Facilitation of play in the learning centers. That's what you do as the educator. You're encouraging cooperative play with this age group because they're working on that, and we want to encourage that growth and development. We're also encouraging initiative with our learning centers, so doing it on their own, being able to start and finish a process, and provide a variety of centers and rotate them as needed. So they get tired of them after a while, and you need to be ready to switch out some of those centers. Maybe some are seasonal, maybe some have to do with holidays, maybe some have to do with the curriculum that you're currently covering. So it's be sure that you have basic centers that are always there, like Block Center, Sand and Water Center, but have others that can be rotated out for interest. Preschool language development, we're looking at conversation in the children's literature. We want a print-rich environment, lots of words to be read in the classroom. We want acceptance. really encouraging getting along, having group time, working with friends. Show and tell is wonderful to help get them out of their little bubbles maybe, and learning to speak in front of a crowd. It's the beginning right here. We also have calendar time with this group. We want to encourage hands-on experiences. We want to have book extenders, much like the ones that you guys have designed for your literacy kits. And we want to have a writing center. In math, we have knowledge of numbers, operations, counting, geometry, shapes. I think we kind of talked about this in week 2 as well. Measurement of objects in a cooking center, in a science center, patterns, data analysis. It's weird to think about that they're really covering all these different things in the classroom. Chapter 16 deals with, again, developmentally appropriate cognitive language and literacy environments, but this time it's for primary age children. So what are they doing? What do we want? What are our literacy goals? Have successful early experiences in learning. We want them to be positive. Play active roles in their learning so they feel like they have some control. Develop dispositions towards learning early on because they've shown that the better experiences they have in early childhood, the better they will do in their latter years, like in high school and college. Have appropriate opportunities to develop basic competencies in literacy and numeracy, and continue developing their individual and personal interests, because personality is really coming out at this stage. We want to use theme work, project work, working together. We want joint planning where the child is part of the process as well, because they come up with amazing ideas. Collaborating in small groups. The teacher is the facilitator as opposed to just telling everyone what to do. We're helping with the process and then stepping back. Language and literacy rich environments, reading, writing, and math skills are very much a part of this group as well. So how do we do that? With our reading, it's through exposure to lots of books, construct meaning out of words, developing strategies. For instance, maybe they have a book memorized and they're able to guess what word comes next. Immersion into environments or maybe second languages. Using high frequency words is very important, and giving this high frequency word list to the parents as well. We want to have purpose, foster enjoyment, and focus a little bit on phonics as well. So what do we do for math? Use number concepts every day. Talk about skills to exploring math. Make math a part of your discovery center or your learning center. We want to teach them how to solve meaningful problems in their day, such as how to distribute snacks to everybody in the classroom. How many Tootsie Rolls should everyone get? Or how many apples do you have? Do you have enough for the whole class? So you can make them very real. Make mental connections to help them discover relationships mathematically and develop confidence in their ability to think things through, and just a positive concept of what math is, because we don't want that math fear developing at a young age. We want to be able to encourage them to hopefully develop a love of not just reading, but also of math and science and other subjects. So you get the idea. There's so much we can do. And lastly, we made it through both chapters. Yay! If you have any questions, guys, please get with me. Call me, text me, email. Email is always the best because I check that so many times throughout the day. But if you need to talk through it, it's fine to call me as well. Okay? Have a great week, everyone.